Hey guys, Justin Coffin for the 330 Sports Show. We are going to introduce a new segment. We kind of did this last year, probably for the back half of the season and into the playoffs. But I'm going to introduce our guest here. His name is Steve Leslie. You can see on his shirt there, if you're watching it live, he is the GM at YSN. I'll have him tell you a little bit about what he does and stuff like that, and a little bit about his background. Steve joined us all last year for a lot of the games, and we went all the way up to, what was it, Warren JFK, I think, made the state finals last year. So Steve, welcome back. We're going to call this Tailgate Thursdays because Steve is kind enough to join us hopefully each and every week, schedule dependent, but things get a little bit busy this time of year. But Steve, we appreciate you coming back, and tell our viewers a little bit about you, your background, and what you do for those people that maybe didn't see you on last year.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me again. Obviously, I love the Tailgate Thursday. We'll cover, hopefully the best 5 games, in my opinion, in a week. We'll talk about some of the big players that we have in our area, and there's some talented kids, no doubt. But on my end, I've been the general manager at YSN for 4 years. DJ Yoakley and Brian Scott are the owners and have done a great job. We cover just in 47 schools. We're proud of that. We have guys that announce games for us and do different things throughout the year. We cover all the sports, younger levels and everything. So from a YSN standpoint for football, we're lucky we'll be showing games every Friday night and Thursday night. We'll have them on at 7 o'clock on ysnlive.com. The thing I think that's neat that DJ's doing this first week, Justin, will be free for all the fans. Nice. We're going to see how this goes with capacities being back in full. People are going to want to get out and watch the games, but also those fans, when they go to their games, they can pop on ysnlive.com and go to another game that they'd like to get a score of. So I'm proud to be the GM at YSN. I believe strongly in what DJ does. We promote the student athletes, the coaches, the players, and do these types of things with you this Thursday tailgate's excellent. On our end, we appreciate all you do at 330 Sports. We all enjoy your shows, and the cross promotion's been fantastic for both of us, and I'm proud of that. And I'm also very proud, and we're going to get together in a couple of weeks to do the color with Bob Hannon for YSU football and travel with him. And when you talk Bob Hannon, he's the best around. There's nobody that calls the game better than him. He's going into year 33 of calling Youngstown State football. So I've learned a lot from him. It'll be my 3rd year, and look forward to a busy football season for sure, but it's my favorite time of the year.
That's awesome. And real quick, before we get into high school stuff, how, I know you and I and Bob had talked preseason back in February about YSU. How weird was it doing football in the fall?
It was rough. That spring schedule was different for everybody. The limited crowds obviously were tough. Travel was different. When we traveled and the check-ins and the COVID testing and being tested each week to be able to be with the team was a lot. But from a Youngstown State standpoint, and Coach Phillips, I think it was big for them to play a season in the spring. I really do. Wasn't the way I'm sure they wanted it to go. But when you go back and look at their season, there's a lot of games that they were very competitive in. The South Dakota State game we played in the championship, comes down to the last drive. We were able to win that game. So I think there's an excitement there for Doug. I think there's an excitement for the fans. September 2nd, the tailgate lot will be back. Hopefully the fans will be back to support another good year of Penguin football. And, it's needed. These kids worked hard and have done a lot of things through this COVID. And I hope for a big crowd on that opener on Thursday night.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So we're gonna have a little YSU preview. So this is a little bit of a teaser for our preview that's coming up soon. So my lame analogy that I'm going to use is Steve. I got the grill. I got the tailgate, but you're bringing the burgers and you're cooking the meal. So you're gonna cook up the games and tell us all about these games coming this weekend. So high school football is kicking off.
Isn't that something? It feels like we just talked, like you said, with Warren JFK and Springfield being in the state championship games. It goes so fast. I know a lot of these teams and coaches and schools putting a lot of time in the off season. Like I said, so many good players in our area that we'll cover over the next 3 months of football season. I look forward to that. But the first week I went with the 5 games that just jumped out at me, and 2 of them are on Thursday night. The first one, anytime Poland and Canfield play one another, the 224 rivalry, Poland's head coach is Tom Pavlansky. Canfield's head coach is Mike Pavlansky. And the game's played at Poland High School, where the stadium's named Dave Pavlansky, who's their father. So the first thing I want to do, it's a tribute to the Pavlansky family. Quality family, great people, quality football coaches that represent both communities very well. And that's the big game. That game tomorrow, and we'll get into the next one, are the 2 highlighters on Thursday night. And, I wrote some things down. Tom Pavlansky, in his first year at Poland, was the head coach at Lakeview, inherits a team that was in 7-2 last year, 18 letter winners. Pavlansky from Canfield, Mike, was 9-1 last year. So 2 good seasons, 12 lettermen. I think when you look at this game, Justin, I look at the 2 quarterbacks. Jack Fulton is a good quarterback. Brock Lowry is a phenomenal quarterback. He'll be a junior for the Canfield Cardinals. They both do a good job of running their teams. I think they will be able to run the ball and throw the football. The keys for me in this game, Nick Bowen is the only offensive returning lineman for Canfield. Poland has 3 starters back on their offensive line. Joey Maseko, Dom, I have to put my glasses on, Dom Sabrin, and Steven Solik. So 3 linemen for them. That's going to be the key for me in this game. The offense and defensive lines in this game will be good. You look at the skill-wise for both teams. Canfield, Mike Crawford and Paulo Papaya are 2 good running backs for Poland. Christian Calissimo is one of the best players in our area. He'll be a fullback. He'll be a linebacker. He'll do a lot of things for them on the ground and on defense. So 2 good running games. The offensive and defensive lines, I think, will be a key. Talked with Coach Pavlansky at Canfield. He thought with a lot of younger kids playing on both teams that the first quarter is going to be important. But when you look at both teams, very good receivers. Drew Carosi will be a good receiver for Canfield. Michael Gordon and Joe Gentile are 2 good receivers from Poland. So 2 good offenses, big-time rivalry, communities they haven't played in 2 years. So I expect a big crowd there tomorrow night. I think that it's great for the community, but in knowing the Pavlanskys, I know they have a lot of family coming in from out of state. They look forward to it, but as competitive as the 2 of them are, for 2 hours, they're going to get after one another, and it's going to be a great football game. Defensively, they're both pretty solid year in and year out. I'm kind of expecting a low-scoring game, to be honest with you. I think the defenses will dominate, but, Toby Smith is a guy to look at for Canfield. Big, strong. He'll run the ball. He's a good defender for Canfield. And obviously, Calissimo and Gordon on the defensive side for Poland are 2 of their bigger players. And Dom Parker returns for Poland. He was their leading tackler. So that's an overview of that one. It's going to be a great game. 2 family members going at it. 2 big-time schools that haven't played in a couple years. The crowd being back, I expect a packed house at Poland. It's a toss-up game. It really is. I don't know. Football comes down to who turns the ball over, who can play a little cleaner. They'll both be coached very well. I know that. And we'll have it on ysnlive.com for those people that do not have a ticket or cannot go. Check out Richie Giuliano and Gary Niddle will have the call on that one on ysnlive.com at 7:00. So the first one right out of the gate, Poland and Canfield, whenever they play in a sport, it's a big-time rivalry. So that's going to be a great game for sure.
Love it. Love it. And one more quick note to add to that. I just saw, I know the Pavlansky family pretty well myself, and I saw their mom is going to do the coin flip before the game as well.
Absolutely. So. I was just with Coach Mike from Canfield. I did his coach's corner. He said there's family in from all over, North Carolina, California. He said the neat part for our family is they're all together now. Tom and Mike are in football mode. He said, we'll be able to, at 10:00, take a breath of fresh air and enjoy all the family and go over to say hello. So that's a big time thing. I give a shout out to Dave Pavlansky, the father who was so well known in Poland, has been gone now for 43 years, but the stadium's named after him, and 2 great sons will put 2 great football teams on the field.
Very good. Looking forward to that one. That's going to be great.
Yep. Game 2 is another Thursday nighter. A lot of talk of Ursuline High School and a lot of great talk on Ursuline High School. Dan Reardon's the head coach. They were 7-3 last year, lost, I want to say, in the regional final in a tough game to Mentor Lake Catholic. You go back to that game, and there was a COVID outbreak for the Ursuline football team. I think they had 5 or 6 starters that were out. So I go back to that game for them, Justin, and I think it's going to show a lot of Ursuline fans and a lot of the area, some of the better younger players that got to play in a playoff environment game. So, but when you talk Columbus Hartley, it's one of the best schools in Columbus. It's a state power. I've talked with the Ursuline staff, big, strong, fast, physical. We'll come over to Spartan Stadium tomorrow night, and it's going to be a fantastic football game. The Canfield Poland game is too. Those are 2 games that I think you will see great crowds. And I think the reason why I say great crowds, Justin, is because of the limited tickets last year. People are in such desire to get out in the fresh air and watch football players compete, coaches, schools, bands, cheerleaders. It's going to be a neat thing to see. But Dan Reardon's one of the best football coaches in our area. They returned 22 lettermen.
Wow.
It's a loaded football team. My daughter goes to school there, so my heart's there a little bit with them. A lot of great friends on that staff, a lot of great kids on that staff. When you look at the football team, Brady Shannon at the quarterback, that's where it starts. He is a 3-year letterman, will be a 3-year starter, has committed to Central Florida in baseball, but still continues to get offers in football. So that shows you how good he is. He's had a great summer throwing the ball. DeMarcus McElroy and Ty Dunlow are 2 running backs that will be 2 of the best running backs in the area. They both ran the ball a little bit last year. DeMarcus had a great year from an offensive standpoint. Have seen him as bigger, faster, stronger. I think what happened to them last year and how that season end has driven this football team, the wide receiver position, Dean Boyd may be that breakout best player in our area. He just committed to Harvard University yesterday. It's proud for all of us at YSN. We cover all these schools. I know Dean Boyd and his family. That's an awesome accomplishment to receive an education from Harvard University. So he's a 6'3" receiver. Jakylan Irving is another 6'3" receiver. Will Burney and Mark Manning are 2 of their slot guys. So on offense, skilled-wise, they're loaded. Coach DeSantis is the offensive quarterback. I say it a lot. He has a nice amount of neat little toys to play with from an offensive standpoint. But their success is going to be an offensive line. They returned 4 starters that have played a lot of football in a good schedule. Brian Frasco, Colton Ross, Casey Lugers, and Patrick McCarthy are guys that this football team will need to be dominant on the line of scrimmage. Their schedule is phenomenal. I mean, they play the city schools. They play Austintown Fitch. They play Columbus Hartley. Just every week is a playoff style game for them. I think it will help them. They've worked really hard all year on the offensive end and defensively. They have some starters on defense. Dunlow and Lugers and Mike Branch are returning starters on defense. The guy that I love for him is John Edmonds, is a linebacker. Ran the ball a little bit last year when they had the COVID break, had a great playoff game. John Edmonds is another one of those guys that I look for a bright year from, one of their younger guys that got that playing experience. And again, in the back end in their secondary, when you could play Dean Boyd, and Jakylan Irving, and DeMarcus McElroy, and Mark Manning, and Burney, it's a talented football team. And I respect them for the fact that, you know, they want to. They want to win a state championship. They understand how hard that is to do, but they're not afraid to talk about that. They play the schedule. And tomorrow night at YSU Stadium, I will be on the call, and we'll have it on YSN Live. DJ Yoakley and myself will be on the call for that. We are actually, I might as well say now, we're doing a pregame show at 5 o'clock from our YSN 10 over at the stadium. So if you could tune into that, we'll have some previews on things there. But Columbus Hartley will be a team that will be recognized statewide, will be a playoff qualifier, I would say. And it's another good football game. So when you look at those 2 games on Thursday night, the seasons have been pushed up a few weeks. The double session practices have changed. These 4 teams jump right in. Poland, Canfield, and Hartley and Ursuline are 4 of the better football teams, and our fans get a chance to get over to Poland and watch it, or come over to Spartan Stadium, or better yet, tune in to YSN. All games are free tomorrow and check out some great football.
That's great. That's great. So, yeah, I mean, right off the bat, the unique thing with high school football is you can play your toughest game right off the bat, first game of the season.
And when you go to that, and that's a great point by you. You go to that Poland and Canfield used to be week 10. Now it's week 1. ADs have to schedule now. When open week's open, you take what you can play. I'm sure Poland and Canfield would love to play somebody else in week 1 to get your feet wet, or Ursuline would love to see someone other than a Columbus Hartley. But I think it's great because 16 teams make the playoffs. These teams we've talked about are all pretty good, and you want to win every game. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
But their schedules will enable them to prepare themselves for the playoff run, and I think it's 2 great games on Thursday night to open up high school football.
No doubt. Very good.
Yes. Yeah. So those are the Tuesday. Those are the Thursday nights, and then Friday doesn't get a whole lot worse. I think it's as good or maybe a little bit better. A game that, when you go back last year, wasn't played. Springfield, South Range. They had to, when you remember when COVID hit.
Oh yeah.
They readjusted their schedules, so they had some scheduling changes. Had to play their league games, and they didn't play. And if they would have played, it would have been a slobber knocker. I don't know who wins that football game, to be honest with you. They were both so talented. South Range made the long run, runs into Kirtland, who again this year, Kirtland is a powerhouse. Mm-hmm. Springfield makes the state championship 2 years in a row, looking for 3. So you dive into that game. Springfield, Sean Guerrero is the coach, one of the best coaches in the area, if not the best. Finished 11-1 again. Lost in a state championship in one of the best football games that I've ever watched. 15 Letterman returning, so the closet isn't bare there, but
yeah, no.
It starts with number 21. It starts with their quarterback, Bo Brungard. He is being recruited heavily, was offered by Youngstown State. So, on my end of it, I would love to see him put on a Penguin uniform. He just does it all. He knows how to lead. Mm-hmm. He can throw it. He can run it. He's great at the safety position. They have a great staff. His dad, Mark, is phenomenal. Their family's phenomenal. Sean has a great staff. You don't see the father-son on the football field. Mark's a football coach and Bo's a player. I think that's unique that they thrive off one another. Mark does a great job of calling plays. And offensively, they're going to be very good. Bo Snyder's going to be a running back that ran the ball last year. Joey Sandine will be a running back. 2 starters back on the offensive line. A.J. Stahl-Smith, Zeke Warzencroft, and Jacob Knoll had some time. So 3 linemen. Wide receivers are all new. They lost a couple wide receivers, but Jacob Joyce is a very skilled one. Sindel Gardner is another one, and Nick Slikes, so 3 good receivers. So I expect to see an offense in Bo Brungard. They'll continue to do what they do. They'll run it. They'll throw it. He's a weapon with the ball in his hands, and I think you'll see that. They lost quite a bit on defense. I think that if there's a thing with them, it's going to be how they can play defense, especially tomorrow night when I go into South Range. South Range has 4 starters back on the offensive line. Coach Yeagley's phenomenal. We'll get into him. So, but on defense, Stahl-Smith and Warzencroft are back, and 2 very good linebackers in Aaron Groner and Bo Snyder. And the back end's in good shape with Joey Sandine and Slike. But they got hit by graduation a little bit last year. I think it's a team that, Sean does it the right way. They go week by week. Obviously, their goal is to get to that game again and hope the third time's the charm. Mm-hmm. Could it happen? In my mind, absolutely yes. That's why I think this first game for them is huge. I think it's a good mark for Springfield to go against the bigger school in South Range and kind of see where they're at for the rest of the season. It'll be a great environment in Springfield. Their community, we've talked about it, is can't wait to get out and watch football like they used to be. So it'll be a packed house Friday night there against one of the best coaches and programs in the area over the last 5 years. Coach Yeagley was 9-1 last year, but here's the one that gets me. We talked letter winners. I told you Ursuline had 21. South Range has 32 returned.
Wow.
So yes, they lost the quarterback in Michael Patrone. Billy Skirpak will be a good quarterback. He got some time last year when Patrone was hurt. Dilla Dominguez is one of the top running backs in our area. Was their running back last year, ran for over 1,000 yards. Corey Pennick will get some carries also. Shane Lindstrom, a very good receiver. But the big thing for them, 4 starters on the line that went into a long playoff run. Chris Colucci, Logan Cormell, Jacob Brooks, Michael Lally, 4 guys that have a lot of experience against maybe some inexperienced guys on the line for Springfield. That's going to be a key. And defensively, South Range is always very good with Remish and Cormell at linebackers and Dominguez and Pennick in the back end. It's got the makings of a great football game. I believe that these are 2 of the better teams in the smaller conferences. The NE8 South Range has won. They won it last year. They beat a good Poland team and ended up winning the league. Springfield has won their league over the last few years. Great opener for both schools. I think I'm excited about it because it's going to be a stepping board for both of them. Obviously, you win the game, you're happy and you move on. But I think the loser will figure things out and carry that on into the season. So another great Friday night game, fans to get out and see. We'll have it on YSN Live at Springfield High School at 7:00 Friday night. So that's a doozy. Those two good coaches. The bands are phenomenal. The cheerleaders will be into it. It will be a full house over at Springfield High School. So that's game 3.
Very nice. It's a loaded slate already.
It is. When I looked at some of these, and we'll each week we'll get into different players, different schools, but these 5 games to play on week 1, you don't see often. The next one, Mooney Boardman, week 1, Southside rivalry. These kids know one another. Great rivalry. It's been a great rivalry for years. Some of the best high school games and some of the guys that have played in this game that are friends now forever. You'll get that back over at Boardman Stadium Friday night. Seth Antrim is the new head coach at Boardman High School. It's his first year. Was able to talk to him a little bit. He said, obviously, you don't like to have your first opponent be Cardinal Mooney, but you know what you're getting in Cardinal Mooney, a good, strong football team. And I think Seth Antrim is going to do a very good job at Boardman. I'm impressed by some of the things he's done. He cares about his football team. He knows how important football is to Boardman. I expect good things from them. And when you look at him, Terrence Thomas, you start with him. Quarterback's up for grabs. Will he be the quarterback? Seth didn't really answer that. As committed to Purdue, hats off to him. Again, we talk about big-time commits. Dean Boyd to Harvard. Terrence Thomas is going to be that skilled guy that's going to Purdue. Cam Thompson is a wide receiver that is phenomenal. Has been offered by YSU, has been offered by Robert Morris. He will be at a wide out spot with Terrence if they go another route at quarterback. We don't know yet. Sean O'Hora is one of the premier running backs in the area, ran for 1,000 yards. He's back. Coach mentioned Fernando Ortiz will be at running back, so we expect good things from him. And when I talked with Seth, we go back to the line of scrimmage. Joseph Era, he thought could be one of the better linemen in our area, is starting to be recruited. And Cortland Love is a big body at tackle. His dad was a phenomenal player at Cardinal Mooney, so Cortland will go against dad's school tomorrow night. So from an offensive standpoint, Boardman fans, you don't know what to expect. Seth was at Chaney. They like to spread you out and throw it around and use athletes. When you have Terrence Thomas and Cam Thompson and O'Hora, he's got 3 pretty good skill guys. So Spartan fans, I expect this team to get better. I struggled on defense the last few years, stopping teams and giving up points. That's one of the emphasis. But O'Hora at linebacker and Blaine Strines at linebacker and Safara and Love on a defensive line. And when you put Cam and Terrence in that back end defensively, I think they will improve. Mike Popio Jr. is the defensive coordinator, is son of his dad, who's over at Springfield now, actually, with Sean. So he'll take over the defense. I expect improvements from them, but they're going to have their hands full. Cardinal Mooney, we talked Boardman, 18 letterman, so you see how big that is for South Range with 32. Cardinal Mooney, Carl Pellini, second year, and I want to say Carl took the job the day of doubles or the day before doubles started. So that's a rough transition.
Yeah.
Carl Pellini's a good football coach. They were 2-6 last year, not what Mooney fans are used to. 20 lettermen letter winners coming back. So I think there's some good people coming back. When you look at them, we go back to quarterback. That's what I'll look at tomorrow, Friday night, when I'm going to watch that game. They have 3 guys competing for quarterback: Alex Del Signor, Cam Sweeney, and Ashton O'Brien. So could you see all 3 of them at quarterback? Maybe a little bit, but very good running back in Zaire Rogers, which I think they will lean on. Their offensive line is a strength with 4 returners. Adam Gardock, Tino Merlot, Mitch Toffel, and Jack Desmond are guys that have played in that system. Cardinal Mooney and offensive linemen are known year in and year out. Yeah. So that'll be one of the keys to that game tomorrow. Can Boardman stop Rogers, and can Mooney stop O'Hora and Cam and Terrence? It could be high scoring. I expect some big plays in that game. Defensively, the Devontae Miller's a standout for Cardinal Mooney. Isaiah Givens, and on the back end, Brandon Lott and Jack Phillips will be some guys that you look for on that game. But great rivalry. We've talked about these matchups in week 1. Phenomenal when these teams open up with one another. Another place, as in Springfield on Friday night, Boardman Stadium will be packed. The alumni from both schools will be out. The students will be out. It will be a great thing at Boardman Stadium for Seth's first game. And I expect a big improvement from Carl Pelini. So it's another big game on Friday night at Spartan Stadium, and we're fortunate enough to have that one on YSN also. Yeah,
well, I can speak from experience as I'm a Boardman graduate, and I've coached at Boardman for a while and in the past, so I know, that is a game. I don't care what Mooney's record is.
Doesn't matter.
That game is circled number 1 on your schedule, whether it's the first game of the year or game 7 or game 10. It doesn't matter. You're getting up.
No doubt. Yeah, I'm a Mooney graduate, so I'm right with you. The records don't matter. It's important to alumni. It's important to a lot of people, and it's great that they're playing again. And to play at Boardman Stadium is phenomenal. It's one of the better stadiums in the area, and they've made more improvements there. I know their athletic department does a great job, and it's a great football game for sure. And I think it's going to be a close one, but a lot of skilled players on the field. When you look at Rogers and Terrence and Cam, those 3 guys can do some things with the ball in their hands on Friday night for sure.
It should be a fun one for sure.
And then the last one is the old West Side rivalry, Fitch and Chaney. You look at Chaney, Fitch last year. Chaney had him beat for 3.5 quarters, and Fitch had a great year. TJ Parker was 7-1, 21 lettermen returning. And again, good teams that we're talking about: Bo Brungards, Brady Shannons, those types of people. Austintown Fitch has Devin Sherwood at quarterback.
Yep.
One of the most competitive players I've ever watched. Plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. Fast, physical, tough. Will run it. Will throw it. Austintown Fitch is one of the most talented teams in the area. TJ's done a great job. Last year he came in. He did a great job. The community loves him. He's very good to us at YSN, supports what we do, is out in the community, and has Austintown Fitch excited about football again. And it hasn't been that way for a long time over there. He's done a great job, but Devin Sherwood is the leader. 2 great running backs. Jamal James and Tyree Mitchell are guys that carried the ball for him last year, did a great job. And the receivers are good. Cam Smith, Tyler Evans, and Donnie Ellis are guys that are great receivers. They will do things in space. They can catch the football. The skill positions at Austintown Fitch are unbelievable. I'm going to say Cam Smith may be one of the most recruited kids in our area that I've heard nothing but great things about. I know it was at Ohio State's camp. His dad, Randy, played on the national championship teams at YSU. Phenomenal dad, phenomenal family. His other son, Randy's on the football team at YSU. So just a football family, and Cam's picked up right where his older brother and father have. I expect a big year out of Cam Smith. Big-time receiver and a safety, a defensive back. He's a ball hawk on the back end. So Fitch got the skill, but we talk about the O-line. They have 1 starter return. So they're going to have 4 new linemen on the offensive line. That could be trouble. Chris King's the only returning lineman for them. He was a good one. So they'll lean on him early. And they took some big hits on defense. They lost a lot of guys, but on defense, Donovan Oliver and Aaron Hively, who's a transfer, will be on the defensive line. AJ Bird's one of the better linebackers in the area. And like I said, Tyler Evans and Cam Smith are ball hawks in the secondary. So Austintown Fitch will be a very good football team. The West Side rivalry fans love. Fitch is another great stadium. And Chaney will come to town. And Chris Emile, they were 3-6 last year, but that wasn't your normal 3-6 football team. They play a very good schedule, a tough schedule. They were in a lot of games, are getting a lot of guys recruited to the college level. He cares about that community. He cares about those kids. So two of the better younger coaches in our area from a head coach standpoint, they're two of the best. And another great quarterback. You look at this game, Jason Hewlett from Chaney, athletic, can run, can throw. Sherwood and Hewlett at the quarterback spot will be a shootout. And two good running backs, J.R. Tellington and Jason Emile Austin will be two good backs for Coach Emile. Very young at the wide receiver, so some inexperience there. And we talked about that O-line again, but Coach Emile has four guys, Jalen Berry, Rolando Bruno, Mark Stancobb, and Jawan Freeman have played some time on the line for Chaney. So if there's an advantage, maybe a slight one to Chaney on the O and D lines, but, Clive Wilson is a defensive lineman that committed to Boston College. He's a big boy that's very athletic, so he'll be tough to handle. And Chaney's a little young in the secondary, but we've talked through all of these. Like you said, Mooney and Boardman records don't matter. Mm-hmm. Chaney and Fitch records don't matter. Opener for both teams. The West Side will be out in full support of both of those teams. And that's, another great matchup and a great thing for all of us at YSN. We're proud of, we'll have all five of those games that we previewed today. We'll have them all on YSN Live. So went through them. I thought that was the top five. The next couple of weeks me and you have talked. Love the tailgate Thursday idea. Hats off to you with that. Love the picture of myself and Grace and Daniel. I thought that was a phenomenal background. So hats off on that. But we'll get into players. We'll obviously preview some different teams. I won't stay with the same teams each week, but for our area high school football, 5 games that you can watch, or if you can go to, get out and watch those 5 for sure.
Absolutely. And you guys at YSN do a great job. And, I can speak for a lot of people last year. I know, a lot of parents weren't able to go to games, especially on the road, and it limited attendance. So a lot of those grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, whoever got to watch through you guys, which is not a normal thing in most areas of the country. So it's hats off to you guys for what you do. And we are always here as a platform to help you guys out. And I appreciate you guys, sharing the word about us as well. So
there's no doubt we love to share the platform. I love to share it, but 330 sports shows are great ones. I enjoy listening to them, but on our end, we're proud of it. Obviously, we were able to do some things with the COVID, but we'll be able to show them all this year. We're proud of that. One of the things, like I said, the first week will be free. I will be in studio on Friday nights when YSU is at home. When YSU travels, I won't be there, but Mike Ackelson will be doing the Red Zone every Friday night. He's one of the best around. I look forward to working with him from the studio every Friday night. That's a great thing for fans and 330 sports fans that just hop on that on our site or on social media. We go from stadium to stadium as much as possible and try to get those touchdowns. So exciting times for all of us. I know you're excited. Is it busy times? Yeah, but that's why we love Youngstown, Ohio, and the sports that kids play here. They're fun to cover, and it's going to be a fun football season.
Absolutely. So, this for opening weekend, those 5 games you gave us, 9 of the area's top programs, and you got a school even coming in from Columbus.
Yes, Columbus. And that's going to be a tough trip for them. A 3-hour ride in on a Thursday. Advantage Ursuline there a little bit. Like I said, pregame show from the stadium with DJ and myself, I believe, starts at 5 tomorrow. And we'll have that game. Richie Giuliano and Gary Niddle will have the Canfield Poland game, and we'll have a whole cast of characters out and about on Friday, and Mike and I will be in studio. So a couple long days, but well worth it for the YSN Nation and all these great schools.
Absolutely. Well, we'll make sure we share it out on our end, but everybody check out YSN for pretty much every weekend from now until December. So You guys got it covered, and hats off to you guys. And we'll be in touch each and every week. So still, Steve will be on the grill cooking things up for us. So
you know what? But you're way more important than that, because you're running all these things that Steve's not very good at a social media standpoint, and StreamYards and all those types of things. But, I must say, too, I have to thank WFMJ and Jack Kurdick, Dana Bolish, and the whole sports staff. We're partnered with them. It's a blessing. We work together. We're a sports team along with you on platforms that we love to do. We're able to show games and cover great high school teams, and 21 backs us and gets us all the information, and we work well together along with you. So great football season with a lot of great players. We'll have a lot of fun.
Well, Steve, thanks again. And, each and every week we'll be talking. So we'll see you next week, and everybody enjoy the weekend's games. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing the videos and the word about us. Thank you.